I think that we should also never be afraid to make sacrifices. One of my favorite was La Hermana Rafaela. So we had taught this family, La Familia Hueso, in my second area in Campana. And we, it was a family who had 3 kids. And, well, they had 4 kids, but only 3 of them got baptized because the other one was older. The whole family got baptized. And then, you know, they were one of my favorite examples because immediately after they got baptized, they were sharing the gospel with like their whole family, which is amazing, like their extended family as well. And then, but we went to meet La Hermana Rafaela, which I think was the wife's like aunt. I don't know, there the familiar terms are a little bit different. Like you call everybody your primo, like your cousin, even though they're not. But anyways, I think it was her aunt. But to get to her, it was kind of a long way, like it was kind of hard to get there because she lived at like the very edge of our area, but on top of a mountain. So we would have to wake up early in the morning. So like we said, like I said, Honduras gets way hot. And this was in like March, which is almost March and April and May are like some of their hottest times. So this was like in March. So we would wake up at 6 a.m. just so that we could leave and we do our studies later on. But we get up at 6 a.m. and then we would take a bus, about a 10-15 minute bus, the end of our area. And then we would either have to wait for this truck that would leave every 3 hours. And so on my mission, you weren't allowed to ride in like the back of a truck, which is very common there. Everybody just like hops in the back of a truck. You had to ride inside of it because I think some missionaries had died in Guatemala beforehand. So we were required to be inside the truck. So we had to make sure that we were the first ones there to like beat all the old ladies out of the front seat, which we felt horrible about. But what are you gonna do? Anyway, and then it was like me, and then my companion was like on top of me, or like I was on top of my companion because it was only like a 2-seat truck. And then, you know, we would take this like 20-minute truck ride up the mountain, and then we would hike in like 20 minutes, like literally inside of a mountain. And sometimes we would miss the truck, so we'd have to hike up the whole mountain, which would take like an hour and a half, and it was like sweltering. That's why we'd leave at 6 a.m. because at 8 a.m. it's only 80 degrees instead of 100. So anyways, we'd always get to the top eventually somehow. And we would teach La Hermana Rafaela. And she was the most amazing woman. She was probably, 80 years old, but she had so much faith. And as soon as we got there, she was just like, I see the sacrifice that you guys made, and I feel like this is right, and I'm ready to be baptized. Almost immediately, as soon as we got there. And I feel like that was just such a testimony to me that when we sacrifice, like others see that, and God blesses us for those sacrifices. And she would come down from the mountain every Sunday, and it's quite a trek. But it was beautiful up there. But we taught her the lessons, and I remember sometimes, like, I feel like because she was older, like, sometimes she wouldn't even understand us, but she just, like, had so much faith that it almost made up for it. And I think slowly by slowly she learned in. I remember her baptism was the Sunday right before I left the area. And it was the most amazing experience to see this woman step into the waters of baptism. And she said that she had never been baptized before because she never wanted to in any other church. She was just such an example to me of sacrifice. And I think that you should, on the mission, something that I learned like halfway through is that there's this amazing talk by President Monson that's called See Others as They May Become. And he talks about how we should always see people, even if they're smoking or, if they're on the side of the street drunk, like we should always see them as they can become. And I think that's one of the most important lessons that I learned on my mission. And I think that you should never like look at someone and be like, oh no, we could never teach them. But look at everyone as if they were in their baptismal clothing, getting baptized, ready to, accept those ordinances. Because I think that whether it's in this life or the next life, I have a strong testimony that almost everyone will accept it, because why wouldn't you want to receive those blessings and to see others as they may become? And even if you're teaching, like a 14-year-old rowdy boy, which I taught plenty of, or, like a 16-year-old crazy girl, or, like a 30-year-old mom who is just on edge all the time, like each of them are children of God, and you should always see them how they can become and not how they are. And I think as I realized that, it changed my entire perspective on my mission. because it was no longer about all the challenges that they had to overcome. It was more about, of course they can do it, they're a child of God, and they will do it. And you just have so much more faith in people.